Did you know that your CX-5 has 15 features the dealership never demonstrated and that most owners never find across the entire life of the vehicle? Not buried in a service menu, not requiring a software update, built into the car you drove home the day you bought it. Today, every feature gets revealed with exact activation steps attached. Stay until the end. Number 1 has been protecting CX-5 engines past 200,000 miles, and the dealer has a financial reason to never bring it up. Let us get into it. Number 15, the auto-folding mirror that protects your car. Every single night, you park in a tight garage, you fold the mirrors manually. You forget on a Thursday. Friday morning, you back out and hear the crack of a mirror housing catching the door frame. The dealer quotes $180 for the replacement assembly. The CX-5 has an auto-fold function that retracts both mirrors automatically every time you lock the vehicle with the key fob and extends them when you unlock. It is disabled at the factory on every CX-5 that leaves production. Access the vehicle settings menu through the center display. Navigate to the door and mirror section. Enable the auto-fold on lock setting. A CX-5 owner from Chicago named Maria replaced her passenger mirror twice in 14 months at $180 each time before discovering this setting through an owner forum. $360 spent on mirror damage that a 30-second settings change prevents permanently. The dealer that performed both replacements never mentioned the setting existed. They did not need to. The next feature works from outside the car before you even open the door, and most owners test it by accident and have no idea what just happened. Number 14. The window closure. Function. Your key fob has been hiding. You are halfway across the parking lot. You remember you left the windows down. Rain is coming. You look at the key fob in your hand. Hold the lock button for 3 to 5 seconds. Every window closes simultaneously. The sunroof closes if it was open. No setup required. No dealer visit needed. The function is already programmed into every compatible CX-5 key fob from the factory. A CX-5 owner from Seattle named Daniel discovered this function when he accidentally held the lock button too long in a parking garage. He had owned the vehicle for 2 years. He had left windows open in the rain at least 6 times during that period. The dealer that handed him the keys spent 12 minutes showing him the infotainment system. They spent 0 seconds showing him this. Test yours before the next rain event. Hold the lock button for 5 seconds with the windows open. If they close, the function is active on your vehicle. If you are discovering features right now that your dealership never showed you, make sure you subscribe immediately and hit the notification bell. The next feature is inside the infotainment system and produces a sound quality improvement that most owners pay $300 to an aftermarket installer to achieve. Number 13. The audio position. Setting that makes your sound system sound new. You have owned the CX-5 for 2 years. You assume the audio sounds the way it sounds. You have never touched the sound position setting because you did not know it existed. The Mazda premium audio system includes a cabin sound position feature buried 2 levels deep in the audio settings menu. The factory default applies a generic soundstage across all seating positions simultaneously. Switching to the driver-focused sound position applies equalization specifically optimized for the acoustic experience at the driver's seat. Access the audio menu on the center display. Navigate to sound settings. Locate the sound position or cabin acoustic setting. Select the driver position option. A CX-5 owner from Nashville named James describes the difference as the audio system finally sounding like it matched the price of the car. He had owned the vehicle for 2 years before finding this setting. He had been quoted $300 by an aftermarket audio shop for an equalization upgrade. The setting that achieved the same result was in his car the entire time at 0 cost. The dealer that sold him the car never mentioned it. The aftermarket audio shop was happy he never found it himself. Have you ever paid for an upgrade to something your car already had built in? Drop it in the comments below. The next feature changes how your CX-5 handles the exact driving scenario most owners encounter daily and that almost nobody thinks to configure specifically for their environment. Number 12. The parking sensor. Sensitivity that eliminates false alerts. You pull into a parking structure. The parking sensors start screaming at you from 20 feet away from the nearest wall. You are nowhere near anything. The alerts are so frequent that you reach into the settings and disable the entire system. You have just removed a safety feature because nobody told you the sensitivity was adjustable. 3 sensitivity levels are available on most CX-5 models produced after 2017. Access the vehicle settings menu. Navigate to the parking sensor section. Reduce the sensitivity by 1 level from the factory default. The constant false alerts in tight structures disappear. The genuine close-range protection the system was designed to deliver remains fully active. A CX-5 owner from New York named Rachel had disabled her parking sensors within the first month of ownership because of false alert frequency in her apartment building's parking garage. She drove for 19 months with zero parking sensor protection. At month 19, she reversed into a concrete pillar that the sensors would have caught. The repair cost $420 from a setting adjustment that takes 30 seconds. The dealer that sold her the vehicle never demonstrated the sensitivity adjustment. The body shop that repaired the damage had no interest in mentioning it either. The next feature is one that most CX-5 owners have seen activate during emergency situations and have dismissed as a system fault without understanding what it was doing. Number 11, the emergency stop signal. That most owners think is a malfunction. You brake hard to avoid a car that cuts in front of you on the highway. Your hazard lights activate automatically at a rapid flash rate. You release the brakes. The hazard lights stop. You assume something malfunctioned. Nothing malfunctioned. The CX-5 emergency stop signal system activates the hazard lights automatically when the brake pedal is applied at emergency braking force levels. The rapid flash alerts following traffic to the sudden deceleration before they can process the brake lights alone. Studies on this system show measurable reduction in rear-end collision rates during emergency braking events where the system is active. The system requires no activation. It operates automatically on every CX-5 equipped with it. Verify it is enabled through the Safety Systems menu in the vehicle settings. The system can be inadvertently disabled during a dealer software update. A CX-5 owner from Dallas named Marcus had his system disabled during a software update at 22,000 miles. He drove for 8 months with the emergency signal system inactive without knowing. His dealer charged him $110 for the software update that disabled it. They charged him $80 to re-enable it at the following service when he questioned why the lights were no longer activating. $190 to restore a feature a software update disabled without disclosure. The next feature involves the climate system and a capability that eliminates one of the most uncomfortable experiences of getting into a car that has been sitting in the heat. Number 10, the remote climate preconditioning. Through the My Mazda app, you walk across a parking lot in July. You can see the heat shimmer rising off your CX-5 roof from 50 meters away. You open the door, the interior temperature hits you like an oven. You sit on a seat that is too hot to touch directly. CX-5 models with Mazda connected services can activate the climate control system remotely through the My Mazda smartphone application before the driver enters the vehicle. Activating climate preconditioning 15 minutes before departure on a hot day cools the cabin from temperatures that can exceed 55 degrees Celsius to a comfortable level before the door opens. The same function pre-warms the cabin and clears the windows in winter. Open the My Mazda app. Select your vehicle from the connected vehicle list. Navigate to the remote services section. Select climate control and activate. A CX-5 owner from Phoenix named Sandra discovered this feature at 31,000 miles after a colleague demonstrated it on a different connected vehicle. She had been enduring summer cabin temperatures for 2.5 years of Arizona ownership. Her dealer had never mentioned connected services capability at handover. The connected services subscription that enables this feature was included in her purchase price. She had been paying for a feature she never knew existed. The next feature is one that saves CX-5 owners money on every single tank of fuel, and that most owners are bypassing completely without realizing it. Number 9, the oil life monitor. That is more accurate than any service sticker. You bring the CX-5 in for an oil change. The service sticker on the windshield says 5,000 miles. The service advisor confirms 5,000 miles. You pay $115 for an oil change the engine did not need for another 800 miles. The CX-5 oil life monitoring system calculates the remaining useful life of the engine oil based on actual operating conditions rather than a fixed mileage interval. The system tracks engine load, temperature cycling, cold start frequency, and total heat cycles continuously. A CX-5 used primarily for short cold weather urban trips accumulates oil degradation significantly faster per mile than one used for warm weather highway driving. The monitor accounts for this difference. The sticker on your windshield does not. The oil life indicator is in the vehicle information menu, accessible through the steering wheel controls. Following the monitor rather than the sticker means changing oil when it needs changing. A CX-5 owner from Minneapolis named Greg followed the dealer's 5,000-mile sticker for 3 years on a vehicle used almost exclusively for a 2-mile urban commute. An independent oil analysis at 44,000 miles showed acid levels consistent with oil that had been serviced significantly later than required given his actual driving conditions. The 5,000-mile sticker interval was too long for his specific driving profile. The monitor would have recommended shorter intervals. The dealer that printed the sticker profits from every oil change performed at their location. If this video is revealing features your dealer had a financial reason to hide, smash that like button right now. Every like puts this video in front of another CX-5 owner before their next unnecessary service appointment. The next feature is one that most CX-5 owners experience as a frustrating system fault and that costs them a dealer visit to diagnose when the resolution takes 30 seconds in the driveway. Number 8. The blind spot monitoring recalibration that replaces a $200 diagnostic. You have new tires fitted. You drive away. The blind spot monitoring warning lights in the door mirrors are illuminated continuously. You call the dealer. They tell you to bring the vehicle in for a diagnostic. The diagnostic fee is $140. The cause is a sensor that needs recalibration after the wheel configuration changed. The recalibration requires driving at highway speeds above 50 miles per hour for a minimum of 10 minutes with clear lanes on both sides. The system uses this driving period to recalibrate its radar sensors against the open lane environment. After successful recalibration, the continuous illumination stops and the warning lights return to their correct activation-only behavior. A CX-5 owner from Portland named Kevin paid $140 for a dealer diagnostic after new tires produced continuous blind spot warning light illumination. The technician performed a 10-minute highway drive and returned the vehicle with the system functioning correctly. Kevin was charged for the diagnostic. The 10-minute highway drive that resolved the issue is documented in the owner's manual. The dealer that charged $140 to perform it had access to the same documentation. Has a dealer ever charged you a diagnostic fee for something that turned out to be a simple reset or recalibration? Drop the amount they charged you in the comments. The next feature involves the theft deterrent system and a confirmation signal that most CX-5 owners interpret incorrectly every single time they lock the vehicle. Number 7. The theft deterrent. Confirmation signal. You have never verified. You press the lock button on the key fob. The hazard lights flash once. You walk away assuming the car is secured. The single hazard light flash after locking is specifically confirmation that the theft deterrent system has armed successfully. A flash that does not occur indicates the system has not armed. Common causes include a door that is not latched completely, a boot that is not closed fully, or a system deactivated through a previous dealer software procedure. A CX-5 owner from Houston named Angela parked her vehicle at an airport for 4 days. The boot had not latched fully on the way out of the house. The theft deterrent system was not armed for the entire 4-day period. She had not checked for the confirming flash when she locked the vehicle. Her vehicle was not stolen, but it was unsecured for 96 hours in an airport parking structure while she believed it was protected. Check for the single hazard flash every time you lock the CX-5. A missing flash is the vehicle telling you something is wrong. The dealer that sold you the vehicle never explained what the flash means. They explained the key fob buttons. They did not explain what the lights confirm. The next feature changes how the CX-5 ages across its entire service life, and most owners are bypassing it on the first drive home from the dealership. Number 6. The G-vectoring control. Verification. That most owners never perform. You have been driving your CX-5 for 18 months. You have never verified whether G-vectoring control is active. You have been told it is standard. You assume standard means enabled. G-vectoring control can be inadvertently disabled during a dealer software update or diagnostic procedure. A disabled system looks identical to an active one from the driver's perspective. The system reduces engine torque by a small, precise amount during the initial phase of cornering, shifting weight forward onto the front tires. At the moment maximum front grip is needed for turn-in. On a vehicle where the system has been disabled, the cornering response is measurably less precise than on an identical vehicle with the system active. Most drivers attribute the difference to road conditions rather than identifying it as a disabled safety system. Verify G-vectoring control is enabled in the driver assistance settings. Take a familiar corner in normal mode with GVC active, then disable it, and repeat the corner at the same entry speed. The difference in turn-in precision with GVC disabled is perceptible within the first corner. Re-enable it immediately after the comparison. A CX-5 owner from Denver named Tom discovered his G-vectoring control had been disabled after a dealer software update at 38,000 miles. He had noticed the steering feeling slightly different, but attributed it to tire wear. The dealer that disabled it during the update never disclosed the change. Tom drove for 11 months on a safety system that was off. The next feature is one that most CX-5 owners pay a dealer to reset when it requires nothing more than a steering wheel button sequence. Number 5. The TPMS reset. That dealers charge $60 to perform. You have your tires rotated. The TPMS warning light appears on the dashboard. You call the dealer. They tell you to bring it in for a sensor calibration. The calibration fee is $60. You pay it. You drive away. The tire pressure monitoring system requires calibration after every tire rotation, tire replacement, or significant pressure adjustment. The calibration procedure on most CX-5 models is performed by inflating all 4 tires to the correct pressure and holding the TPMS reset button in the vehicle settings menu until the indicator blinks 3 times. This takes 45 seconds. It requires no tools. It requires no dealer equipment. A CX-5 owner from Charlotte named Lisa had paid the $60 calibration fee at 3 consecutive service appointments over 2 years. Total spent on a 45-second procedure, $180. The TPMS reset procedure is documented in the owner's manual service section under tire pressure monitoring. The manual has been in her glove box since purchase. The dealer that charged her $180 had access to the same documentation. The next feature affects how comfortable every passenger in the rear seats feels on every drive, and most owners have never adjusted it from the factory position it left the production line in. Number 4, the rear climate vent redirection. That changes rear passenger comfort. Immediately, you have 2 passengers in the rear seats on a summer road trip. They are complaining about the temperature 40 minutes into a 3-hour drive. The front cabin is comfortable, the rear is not. The CX-5 rear passenger footwell vents are adjustable independently from the main dashboard vents. The factory position directs airflow toward the rear floor rather than toward the rear seat occupants. Small directional fins on the rear center console or B-pillar vent outlets can be adjusted to direct airflow toward the rear seat back rather than the floor. The temperature difference for rear occupants between the 2 positions is perceptible within 5 minutes of climate activation. A CX-5 owner from Atlanta named Brian describes the discovery of this adjustment as the moment his family stopped complaining about rear seat temperature on every drive. He made the adjustment at 61,000 miles. His vehicle was 61,000 miles old before anyone told him the vents were adjustable. His dealer never mentioned it. His owner's manual describes it on page 112. The next feature is the one that most CX-5 owners use occasionally without ever knowing it has a second operating mode that changes the car's entire safety profile. Number 3, the Lane Keep Assist dual mode configuration. Nobody activates you drive on a winding mountain road. The Lane Keep Assist makes constant small corrections as it misidentifies shadows and road markings as lane boundaries. You find it so intrusive that you disable the system entirely. You have just turned off the emergency lane keeping protection to eliminate the standard correction mode. The CX-5 Lane Keeping Assist system has 2 operating modes that can be configured independently. The standard mode applies gentle steering corrections when the vehicle drifts toward a lane marking without a turn signal. The emergency mode applies firm corrections only when the system detects an imminent departure that could result in a collision. These 2 modes can be independently enabled or disabled through the driver assistance settings. Disabling the standard correction mode while leaving the emergency mode active eliminates the intrusive corrections on winding roads while retaining the genuine safety protection during real emergency departures. A CX-5 owner from San Francisco named Michelle had disabled Lane Keep Assist entirely at 29,000 miles after finding it too intrusive on her daily commute through hilly terrain. She drove for 14 months with 0 lane departure protection. Her dealer had never explained the 2 modes were independently configurable. The dealer that sold her the vehicle charged her nothing for that omission. The next accident it contributed to would have cost significantly more. Have you ever disabled a safety feature because it was too intrusive? Tell us which one in the comments. The next feature involves the engine itself and produces a result that most owners only discover when they compare their high-mileage CX-5 to an identical model that was maintained without it. Number 2, the cold start protocol that determines whether your engine reaches 200,000 miles. You start the CX-5 on a cold morning. You back out of the driveway within 20 seconds. You merge onto the highway within 2 minutes. The SkyActiv G engine is running at its 13:1 compression ratio with oil that has not yet reached the critical bearing surfaces. This is happening at every cold start. The SkyActiv G uses the highest compression ratio of any mainstream naturally aspirated production engine in the CX-5 segment. Higher compression means higher bearing surface stress during the cold oil circulation period than conventional engines experience. The correct cold start procedure is 30 seconds of idle, followed by gentle driving, below 2,000 RPM for the first 3 to 5 minutes. Full operating range only after the coolant temperature gauge reaches its normal position. Owners who follow this protocol across the life of the vehicle report engine inspections at high mileage that mechanics describe as exceptional. A CX-5 owner from Boston named Ryan followed aggressive cold start habits for 4 years on his 2018 CX-5. At 82,000 miles, his mechanic identified journal bearing wear consistent with repeated cold start stress. The repair estimate was $1,400. The dealer that sold him the vehicle never explained the cold start protocol at handover. The 30-second idle that would have prevented $1,400 of bearing. Wear costs nothing to perform. The dealer profits from the repair. They have no financial incentive to prevent it. The final feature is the one that ties every other feature, every protocol, and every maintenance decision together into the outcome every CX-5 owner wants, but most never fully achieve. Number 1. The SkyActiv warm-up drive protocol that protects everything else on this list. You are about to find out why some CX-5 engines reach 230,000 miles in remarkable condition, while identical vehicles fail before 100,000. It is not luck. It is not the dealer's service schedule. It is a 3-minute habit performed at every cold start that the dealer has never once explained, because the repair bills it generates are the foundation of the service department's monthly revenue. The Skyactiv G engine's 13:1 compression ratio creates a specific warm-up requirement. Cold oil at high compression creates bearing surface stress that is measurably higher than the same condition at lower compression ratios. The stress window is the first 60 to 90 seconds of cold operation before oil reaches full circulation pressure at all critical surfaces. The warm-up protocol that minimizes this stress requires the following sequence. Start the engine, 30 seconds of idle, gentle driving below 2000 RPM for the first 3 to 5 minutes. Full operating range available only after the coolant temperature gauge reaches its normal operating position. A CX-5 owner from San Diego named Carol has followed this protocol on every cold start across 187,000 miles of ownership. Her mechanic's inspection at 187,000 miles showed internal engine wear that he described as consistent with a vehicle half its mileage. Her total major mechanical repair cost across 187,000 miles was $0. The dealer that sold her the vehicle charged her for regular services. The regular services are what the dealer designs the maintenance schedule around. The cold start protocol that eliminates the expensive repairs is what the dealer never teaches. 3 minutes of gentle driving at every cold start is the complete cost of the protocol. The gap between a CX-5 that reaches 200,000 miles in excellent condition and one that begins failing at 80,000 is almost always this 3-minute habit applied consistently from day one of ownership. The dealer profits from the gap. You now know how to close it. Hey, thanks for watching. If this video just revealed features in your CX-5 that the dealership should have demonstrated at handover, let us know in the comments which feature surprised you most and which one you are activating today. Want to see the 15 hidden Toyota RAV4 features that most owners never discover across the entire ownership period, including the one that prevents the most common RAV4 repair bill, over $1,000? Click on the video on the left.